Oh, it is nerve-wracking. I now need to make sure that slowly, yes, just taking that time, redirecting to YouTube. Sure. Oh, and I'm gonna mute myself. Right, links. It is 4:59. Where would you like the link? On the Discord?
Yeah, if you send it to me on Discord, that would be great.
Boom. So, um, got that for you. Then on our events, edit, review. Link is here. Then start that. Get my little copy and paste at everyone. Where did my Discord go to? And then I'm going to share it with the team. You guys, starting the live stream now. Technically already started. Right, and then finally, it's already recording online. I just need to get my own screen recorded. So
That's so fun.
start recording. And so we got here on time. We got here on time.
Yay!
Whoa! All right, let's see. How are we doing? We got okay. I think people start trickling. We could probably just give it another minute.
Yeah.
Got two. Um, boom. All right. Three. It's slowly coming up. That's
Yay!
triple the original number. I will make a start now. Good afternoon, everyone, from the UK, and good morning to those who are on the stateside. If not, good lunchtime, good afternoon. We have here Alex McCauley to do our role and play GM spotlight. Really stoked to have them on, and we're gonna roast. No, I'm not joking. We're not gonna roast her. We're gonna learn so much from her. There's so much I want to ask to get so much insight. So if you're just tuning in to the live stream, feel free to leave a comment. I will do my best to have a little glance to see if we have any time for any ad hoc questions. But yes, thank you for tuning in. Alex, hi.
Hi.
How are we feeling?
Yeah, good.
Awesome. Good.
Good,
Good
good,
is like the threshold that we need to be.
good.
Quite okay. Let's get up to good. Yeah, let's get up to
Yeah.
good. So, tell us a little bit about yourself. Where I had to look up, do a little research. We have under your accolades, GM,
Yeah.
Goblin,
Goblin. Yeah.
actor and storyteller. And I'm
Yes.
really intrigued about the actor and storyteller part before we go into the full GM side.
Well, yeah, I'm a professional actor based in London. I guess something that isn't on there, but I'm also a professional movement director. So I
Mm,
guess that kind of feeds into the storyteller bit because I think I always say myself as a storyteller generally because I have so many different aspects of
mm.
storytelling, whether that be through physical movement, dialogue, in theater productions or film, or through my storytelling at TTRPG tables. Yeah.
Amazing. Oh. I look, you might not mention it, but I think you've got to like kudos that you trained through the Institute of like the Royal Welsh College.
Yes, I did.
That's not and also like feeding in that discipline that you go through your creative arts, like kudos to you. I tip my
Thank
official
you.
hat to you. That's amazing. Yeah. You're
Yeah.
not you're not just any GM with that. You're like, this isn't any GM. This is top tier, fresh off the grill with 21-day mature cheddar cheese, oozing with charisma sauce GM. That's
Yeah.
what you got.
That's great. Yeah, no, I definitely think those, I mean, I definitely think those experiences in my training in both. I studied at, like you said, Royal Welsh College of Music and Drama for my BA in acting. And then I also, last year, oh my gosh, that's crazy.
Mm,
Last year, this time last year, I was writing my dissertation for my master's in movement direction for the Royal Central School of Speech and Drama.
nice.
So, but I think all of those things that I've learned from
Mm,
both my acting background and my movement direction background directly feed into what I do at GMing in a table, which I guess the acting background people would go, that makes sense, but how much the movement direction background has also fed into how I conduct myself as a GM is really important.
of course, of course. So my question is, when did you get into TTRPG and honing your GM kind of journey, with all that amalgamation to come to where you are now? Like tell us a bit about, like the background story of
Yeah.
the start.
I got into TTRPG in my teens. Um, I was always a big fantasy nerd, comic book nerd. Um, had amazing Spider book. I had Amazing Spider-Man comic books in my hand in the schoolyard, and just being like in a corner, like a little weirdo, reading about Peter Parker, and absolutely just falling in love with it. And I think my mom has always said I used to had journals of books that would just be like my worlds that I make up, or like some fantasy thing that I used to come up with and insert myself into. And when I found TTRPG,
Mm.
I was like, this is amazing. But I was kind of gaslit into it. um,
Gaslit.
yeah, no, in the way, but like it being like, oh, I really want to get a group of people to play Dungeons and Dragons with one of my friends in high school, and was like,
Mm,
and it's just so sad because none of us are GMs. And I'm like, oh no. And they're like, yeah. And I know you like, you watch Dimension 20 and Critical Role, and it would
mm,
just be so nice to play finally, wouldn't it? I'm like, yeah. And they were like, oh, it just sucks that none of us could create a world and like take the time to read the DMG. And I was like, I'll do it. And they were like, really? And then they were texted our other friends like, knew it. Like, got her. And I was like, so I mean, my very first experience with any TTRPG was Dungeons and Dragons 5e. And it was, uh, or I mean, 2014 5e. And it was coerced to be the GM for the very first time. I don't think I actually got to play until 3 years after that.
Read the
Yeah.
wow.
Like I mean, as much as there's this kind of mantle of being placed as the forever GM, it is one of those things, and I'm like, but if you really are a forever GM, it's not like I proudly wear that as a badge of honor.
Mm.
It's like it's a cry for help. It is a badge of honor. Don't get me wrong. I mean, to all the other GMs out there, like do 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 do, like good for
Yeah.
you guys. But it is like that one. Like you do sit there sometimes, and you're like, but I want to play.
Mm.
And when I did get
If
that
only,
moment,
yeah.
yeah, to play, it was such a beautiful experience. And I think in a way, it was like one of those things where I kind of had that feeling of being like, oh. I do, I think, tend to lean towards the role of GM more in terms of like how I function or how my brain works. But it is
Mm.
so important to be a player. Like I think every GM needs to be a player to
Yeah,
understand how to be a good GM.
I agree with that. Yeah, because you can always imply rules
Hmm.
and rules, but obviously we'll learn where you pivot in certain settings. But yeah, then if you don't get to be on the other side, you can always sympathize, but empathy,
Yeah,
you gotta sit there too, don't you?
yeah,
Mm.
it's really important.
Forever GM, forever GM. amazing. But I hope you feel like you get a good balance of playing as well as I don't know, the ratio of playing to, to GMing from a forever GM point of view. What is it? What is it like for you? Obviously you will play more. No, you'll GM more, but how much more?
Oh, it's like 90 to 10. It's rough. I
That
think,
is rough.
I mean, nowadays I get to play. I mean, I work at somewhere in London
Mm,
where it's like I sometimes get to play if there's too many GMs on the night, we don't have enough players, and they're like, "Oh, will
mm,
someone drop?" And then I'm like, "Yes, get me on the table." Let me make some other GM's life miserable.
mm.
But for the most part, I GM. I'm always GMing. But the minute I
Mm,
do get to play, it's such a lovely experience.
yeah, good. It's you got to have that healthy like healthy balance. Is healthy even applicable there?
I don't
No.
know. To be honest, I think it's healthy for me in some ways, but then
Mm,
I would maybe bet my friends would be like, see me in a room at 3 a.m. with the blankets over my head, only you can see my eyes. My eyes are
mm,
like taped open, glued to my screen, creating some world, and I'm like, must write next session. I'm like,
mm.
this can't be
You're getting
happening.
inspiration regardless,
Yeah.
whilst or playing. Yeah,
Yeah.
awesome stuff. That we pivoted a little bit from the intro, but love it. Absolutely love it.
Sorry.
No, don't apologize. We're here to like really, get the juicy parts of like your perspective as a not just the GM side, but like from the Alex side.
Yeah.
So I would have put an icebreaker, but we really broke the ice already. So we'll dig deep. We're gonna talk about the art of GMing.
Mm.
My first question to you was, what do you think makes a great, or what do you think it takes to be a great games master?
Well, I think we already touched on one, which is empathy.
Mm,
I think you have to be empathetic to be a great games master and aware, so like 360, 180-degree
mm,
awareness of your players at the table in terms of, if they're having fun, but also safety,
mm,
consent,
mm,
really being aware of what you are offering at the table and how that's received, but also what everyone else is offering.
yeah.
uh, and being able to not necessarily shut players down, but be able to create a comfortable atmosphere for everyone, regardless of different people's comfortability, triggers, safety, and being
Mm,
able to thread a story with all of that in mind, uh, I think is really important.
mm,
So, like awareness, empathy. I mean, I feel like this is just a pillar anyways of any TTRPG, but creativity and imagination, being
mm,
absolutely obsessed with TTRPG and world building and fantasy is so important. But I also think it's the idea of falling in love with the world you create, but being
mm,
okay to let the reins go. Because I think too many times I've seen a lot of GMs be like, well, this is my baby. This is my precious. Touch. And then a player wants to like poke at it and be like, but what if I want to do this? And you have to be like,
Yes.
yeah, okay, like let's see where that goes. I think allowing for player autonomy is so important, and
Mm,
not being there to be a guide, not a enforcer or a dictator.
mm, mm,
I think is really crucial to being a good games master. I think especially with how far TTRPG has come since uh its origins of, well, not necessarily origins because this dates far beyond D&D first edition. But if we're talking about first edition D&D way back in like the 70s, that has come from one game to a new
mm.
game at this point because of the influences of amazing actors, TTRPG creators,
Yeah,
game
of course.
designers, etc., who have opened this realm that has the ability and the adaptability to become more diverse and including
Yeah.
to vast communities.
Mm. I guess, yeah. No, not just I guess. I agree. I agree that I suppose as a new GM myself, if I haven't made a world yet, but I can see that anyone that's creating the world for their first time to play test it with trusted friends.
Yeah.
And then you've got A, B, C, D all written out, with all the algorithms going this way and that way if one thing's happen. But then if you don't cover that and you have to take, let the players take reign,
Hmm.
how willing are you, how willing are you going to let them take it? Like, how far are you willing to let them take it? And so, yeah, empathy and flexibility. But yeah, no, like very fair point as well, because yeah, it's true. Like there was only one type of TTRPG before it's all branched out. And so there's influences and influences, inspirations to inspirations.
Hmm.
And so I agree with your point. Like that's is a lot. Is a it's not just one simple formula to become a great game
No.
developer. No,
And
there
I
is.
think there's tons of different amazing GMs that have completely different styles. I
Mm,
don't think one great GM is the same as the other.
mm,
Uh, or, there's some GMs that can be comparable, I suppose, in terms of style
yeah.
and general vibe that they give off, and types of games that they play.
Yeah.
But no great GM, there's no rule book for being a great GM. It is
Mm,
knowing your table, knowing your audience, knowing yourself, what your strengths and weaknesses are.
mm,
That's
mm.
really important. I mean, I've I say this and I mean probably doesn't look good on me right now because I'm quite literally doing a job in London that is all about like gothic horror. But before that, I would have never pegged myself as a gothic horror person. I was like, I'm funny, and that's my shtick, and I can then make people cry because I've made you emotionally invested in an NPC,
Mm,
and then I'll just
mm,
make you weep, and you'll never forgive me for a couple of days. But I was
mm.
like something that is just shrouded in smoke, like Ravenloft, grimdark,
Mm,
esque areas. I was like, oh, I'm not really sure if that's my strong suit, but that's been like years of building up now to be good at that.
mm.
But in the beginning, just it's okay to be good at one thing in the beginning and then build up
Yeah,
your
yeah.
strengths from there. You don't get mad at yourself for being like, well, all I can do is my voice and the same guy NPC that kind of sounds the same. That's
Mm,
okay. If your players are having a good time, then
yeah.
they're enjoying that one guy. Like that's great. And
No,
then
of
you'll
course,
build
yeah.
your arsenal up. That's what's important.
Kudos. Kudos to you to change like the genre or your the generic mannerism or the theme that you go for.
Mhm.
I can't see it being easy going from mainly comedy and laughing to the darker stuff.
Yeah.
Um,
It's I mean, I think within comedy there is always drama, right? They're hand in hand. But
yeah.
if you're doing something that's a quite serious campaign and you know there's going to be a quite serious note with it,
Mm,
there's a certain level of delicacy you have to have with that.
mm,
And I don't think it's a lack of me having it. I think that was just a trial and error thing of having to build up the stamina in order to do something long run like
yeah,
that
yeah,
over time.
yeah.
Uh,
The calluses.
yeah, it's building up the calluses, which is
Yeah.
so important. Just because, I love comparing GMing as a constant flow of as bouldering.
Mm,
Um, as
yes.
like you build up the calluses, you have to navigate the puzzle, sit down with the
Yeah.
situation. You might fail and fall a couple of times, but then when you do it, great, you know the system, you know how it works. And then you can
Ordering.
move on to the next step. Um, it's a constant puzzling out, and if you are not a puzzle person, that's fine, but sometimes you
Mm,
just have to sit in the puzzle and
mm.
be
Until you
trying to
get
figure
yourself
out
out.
the navigation of it and fall a couple of times. It's okay.
Mm.
Yeah.
Oh, I like that perspective. bouldering. I just had to make the note. I was like, hmm. I was like, whilst you're sharing, I was literally thinking it is like a sport where you don't just master in one. You have to understand the rules of many others to adapt and become better at what you were proficient at.
Yeah.
And also then you can then venture down. All right, what else do I want to build upon? But no, bouldering, beautiful. I like
Yeah.
that. Yeah, and climbing. Um, one more question under this segment. To you, what is the biggest misconception, or biggest misunderstanding about GMing?
Okay, this is going to be
It's hard because
something that
you started as
sounds,
a GM, so
yeah.
you must have heard from many players. It's like, oh, I wouldn't want to be like you.
What,
Not that I wouldn't want, I'm so grateful that you are our GM. So,
so 100%. So this is gonna sound like the most contradicting thing in the entire world. But I think sometimes it's this weird, it's this weird kind of mythic mythos like thing towards players, I think, being a GM, because it's like,
mm,
it's so daunting. It's so hard. It's this, you have to be some kind of, your frontal cortex has to be developed in a way that doesn't work the same as us mere mortals to be able to GM like this, which is not true at all. I'm just a guy. I'm just a random girl. But at the same time, I think some people do not realize the amount of work that goes into
mm,
being the good game master.
yeah.
Like planning the sessions, making sure everyone's doing this, looking at the player stats and going, "Oh my God, everyone has the intelligence, the median intelligence of -1. How am I going to be able to give any kind of history arcana checks with this group? Like this is absolutely abysmal. But it's navigating those things, planning ahead, when being able to plan a session you've spent hours on, show up, and they decide to go buck wild, not at all
Mm.
against you, and then you have to just sit there and improvise everything. And then they go, wow, that was an amazing session. And you're sweating behind the screen, like, yeah, yeah,
Same time next week.
come on, same night, everything. Yeah. And it's all good and it's the fun of it. And I think people don't realize that work that goes into it,
Mm.
but then looks at the other work, which we see as the fun stuff,
Yeah.
and goes, I could never. But really, you could. I
Mm.
mean, I, I famously had a player, still they are just a player, which still makes
Just
me
to play it.
like, you should GM. Like, shh, stop. Is there like, I don't have the brain capacity to be a GM and come up with all of that. So
Mm.
here's my 32-page Word document on my character's backstory. By the way, I've
No.
also created a table of NPCs and a timeline, and I'm like, you can be a GM. You're fine. You are fine. And I think that's the thing with a lot of players is I think it's this daunting thing in one way
Mm.
versus if you've done all this work for your characters and you're invested in the world and you're invested in world building, you don't have to homebrew a world. You're
Mm.
fine. Like so, I say that I homebrew every world I make, but but
But
don't
you
listen
don't
to me.
have to.
Don't.
I
But
do it so
I
you don't have to.
but don't listen to me. But there is amazing source books to go from that give you worlds that you can then build off of, or you can change and
Mm.
adapt to make it your own. So it's it's one of those things that yes, it is a lot of time, but it is not
Mm.
as scary.
Yeah.
So I think people need to be able to don the cloak and be like, wow, this is a nice fabric, and then sweat in it a bit, and
Yeah.
then you'll be fine.
I'll wear, it's got a bit of like those fuzzy kind of like itchy feel,
Yeah,
but you know what? Like I like the feel of that.
I like it.
Or do I? Then you start to like, no, it's become part of
You're
me now.
used to it. Well, I mean, you're a new GM. What is something that has like got you a bit scared at first too?
Oh my word. Love the flip. You're
Yeah.
asking.
Woo. Let's flip the script here.
Definitely the fact that the fact that I don't need to know every rule within the player's handbook or the GM's yeah, the Dungeon Master's Guide to just get a game going to test the waters of how well things can go. And also, like, oh, if I slipped up somewhere, it's not the end of the world with my script or what I planned. Is very much what you said. Is like it's the um that the
Mhm.
improvisation itself is very, very helpful.
Yeah.
It's a very helpful tool, which is also agreed by Rob, our previous GM that we spotlighted in the Lunch and Learn. And it's also just, yeah, giving the floor to the players was easier than I thought.
Yes.
At first, it was a bit rattling because it's like I've introduced a tavern and I'm the tavern keeper, and this is all I'm going to say.
Mm.
But then where are they going to go? Are they just going to be like, what do we do? What? And then it's like, the questions will slowly come in, and that's then it's like building blocks,
Yeah.
bouldering, like grips.
Script. Yeah. Yeah.
That was yeah,
You
that
brought
was a
up a
big learning
really
curve.
good point, though, about rules, is because that is something I think that also holds people back. Being like, well, I don't know all the rules. I don't know all the rules either. And I've been playing this game for nearly
Let me just
10
flip.
years now. Like, there are times at tables where people go, wait, but this is this. And I'm like, I knew that. And then I'm like, furiously typing on my computer, being like, what is the radius of like it's fine. It's because I mean, we do like we are very lucky that we are not in a time where we have to constantly like flip through pages and be like,
Yeah.
let me just go through the DMG when you can like look it up being like, what is this? And D&D Beyond will
Mhm.
tell you, or Roll20 will tell you, and it's fine.
Yeah.
Not AI because
No. Woo.
no.
I'm oh, have we lost? No, we haven't. Yes, we have. I think Alex is frozen on our side because all I see is this. So we are just going to have a pause. Christian Marine 2924, I do see your question and we'll try and get that asked when Alex is back. Just going to see if I can fetch her back.
Okay, am I back?
We are back.
Great. I can only imagine what I was frozen on. I can only imagine my face was like,
It was beautiful. It was good.
thank
It
you.
was like,
Good.
yeah, my panic is over though.
Good.
I panicked so hard I forgot the point that you were making.
I was thinking I was talking about something about not knowing rules, and there's a perfect example as not
Yeah.
knowing what to do in that situation and just rolling with the punches.
Rolling with the punches. Yes, yeah. And then that's how you build the calluses. And
That's how
you're
you
like,
make them.
okay, you know
And
what?
I've made my point. It's
Yeah, let's
like-
move on. Let's move on. We are almost halfway through. Okay, that's
Oh,
really cool.
whoa.
I'm going to bring the next segment in, which is
Yeah.
behind the screen, the GM
Whoa.
screen. So, um, whilst you're there and you're doing all your prep and you're settling the players, um, many, many things are just like interstellaring in your mind right now,
Mhm.
just to, make an absolute banger of a session. So let's get some of these like core questions in. So then it's like, okay, this is what we need sometimes. So
Yeah.
when you're behind the screen, how do you create memorable NPCs?
I'm asked this a lot. And I take it as a compliment. Um, uh, but I think it is just finding. I think memorable NPCs can range from sincerity to
Hmm.
humor to evil or something sinister or something unnerving. I think when it comes to the random NPC that you meet, I
Hmm.
think coming up with something that really defines them, like whether it be that like a caricature. So this is
Yeah.
kind of coming from my acting background, but
Amazing.
I studied a lot of commedia dell'arte, which is an Italian form of masked theater, which a
Okay.
lot of notable things that we see in comedy today comes
Mhm.
from. I use SpongeBob SquarePants as like the best example of modern
Oh.
commedia. Is there are archetypes basically. So we know there's one called Arlecchino, who is like the young kind of Zani who is very hungry for food, but always wants to impress and always wants to be the best. That's SpongeBob.
Mm.
You have the SpongeBob character.
Got
Then
you.
you have Pantalone, who's obsessed with money. That's Mr. Krabs. Then
Oh,
you
okay. Yeah,
have,
yeah, yeah.
yeah, then you have Brigella, who's like the head Zani, always uptight, wanting to make a good impression, hates Arlecchino, wants nothing to do with everything. That's Squidward. So like you have those amazing archetypes that we have known and loved for centuries.
Yes.
So I think when you are about to introduce a character that you're like, maybe they'll like hook onto them, maybe this is going to be something in the
Mm.
future that they won't, and it'll just be a moment. I always try to pull an archetype and then kind of twist it into a way. So like if I have someone who is a barmaid who I was like, okay, she's going to be very lovely. I'm going to take a Zani character. I'm going to make an Arlecchino
Mm.
character who's just eager to please, like very much like wanting to like be, oh, hey, sweetheart, how are you? Like, oh my gosh, sugar, yeah. So if you go down to tavern down the way, if you find the golden goose, you'll be right there. And like, you can just immediately make a character like that.
Very
You can
nice.
make the like Del Torre character who thinks he knows everything, but is
Okay.
absolutely stupid. So you can have like the crazy old kook at the bar who's like,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
one day I saw in the distance, I saw a cloaked figure, but also the goats have been acting up and I think they're causing a conspiracy against me. Like, like you can just easily pick these characters out of your back pocket. But then when you want to make someone long term that
Mm.
I think that's when you really ground them in humanity and
Mm.
finding them like they have their own goals. They have their own wants and
Yeah.
needs.
Mm.
Recently I'm doing something, a region at a place I'm working at, and I have three NPCs in which I did not expect people to get so emotionally attached to in completely different ways. And one of them landed up that there's like this will they, won't they between two NPCs, and everyone's
Oh.
like, they need to get together. But like they're Romeo and Juliet style on completely opposition political sides, and they're like, we need to convince her that he's on the right side of
Yeah.
history and that they are going to be together. And I'm like, great. But like that just came from a couple of interactions with them, seeing the back and forth and being like, can I make an insight check to see if something is going on? And immediately
Yes.
seeing that going, huh, yeah, actually, go ahead. And then you in your head can just go, obviously they want to see something is going on.
Yeah.
So maybe you might not have written that originally,
No, of
but it's
course.
way more interesting if all of a sudden you're like, yeah, you can see that he's been pining after her and she seems very closed off. Oh, immediately people are invested. I need to know more. I need to know their backstories. Great, you've just immediately made characters that people have become invested in, want to know more about their lives.
Wow.
Then you make something like a big bad.
Mm.
I
Ah,
think
yes.
I think the more the at least for me, the people who have really hooked onto a big bad of truly hating them is when they don't like they try to not seem like the big bad. They genuinely think they're doing the right thing in their head. And whether
Mm.
that is like they think they should be in power because they think they are the best person to be in power. That is a goal. Like, and whatever, forever that reason. But I currently have an NPC where there is a smear campaign quite literally going on about him because everyone was like, we need to kill this sexy rat at all costs.
Yeah.
And there is full like I put up posters being like everyone like this is your new like leader of this town, and everyone's like gone and like drawn on them around the place of work and have been like no. I'm like I've never seen like players hate someone so much, and I was like I was trying to dissect that one day being like why do they what do they but I think it's because he really tries to play himself off as someone who is just charming and charismatic. He's laid back, he does
Mm.
not see anyone as a threat. So that only feeds people more. What do you mean you don't see me as a threat? I'm level 10. What do you mean? What do you mean?
Don't
Counterspell.
put
Well, I
you dead.
counterspell your
Yeah.
counterspell. Okay.
Mm.
Like, when they are both tactical in combat and tactical outside of combat,
Mm.
and actually are gaining the favor of people, they seem like a real life threat. If people
Mm.
can relate your BBEG to real life BBEGs, it becomes
BBEG.
even more like, you're like, I know that politician in my mind that I absolutely hate, and I can
Mm.
relate it to that man, and that's just the scum of the earth, and I'm going to do everything in my power to dethrone him. That's great. I think really trying to ground your NPCs that mean something to you into something that is the human consciousness,
Yeah.
or what is the human condition. That's what I meant to say. Something
Mm.
that is the human condition. They are fallible.
Yeah.
They are can be relatable. When a villain's relatable, that's even worse because that makes you think about yourself.
No, of
Um,
course, yeah.
I think
Mm.
that's what makes really memorable NPCs, kind of finding the way between archetype to actual human
Yeah.
condition connections. Yeah.
Beautiful, beautiful. Frameworks. SpongeBob, if you want to start, you want to find a starting place, guys.
You wanna?
And then the BBEG, yeah. You
Yeah.
know, I was literally thinking, who's a good big bad in my mind, and but I was so focused with just like your big bads. I'm like the Punisher, maybe. I don't know. From
Hmm. Yeah, I think
possible.
there's a couple of like big bads in film and television that you just are like. But there's also, you know, I love when it's from the big bad's perspective. Like I love Shakespeare, and a lot of my things I take from like old classical texts and plays. And I love looking at Macbeth because like
Oh, Macbeth.
Macbeth's perfect because he
Yes.
is the big bad.
Yeah.
He is the big bad of Scotland. He
Mm.
wants to be king. He thinks he's doing the right thing. He then has fallibility where he doesn't know if he's doing the right thing, but he keeps on going with his goals until the very end, until it kills him.
No, it's true. Yeah.
But it's
You're
because we're
right.
getting it from his perspective that
Yeah.
for because they're the protagonist. Just because they are the protagonist doesn't mean they're the good guy.
Yeah. Wait.
What protagonist means is that they are the main character. And an antagonist doesn't mean you're the bad guy. It means it is against what the protagonist's beliefs are. So you can have the good guy as the antagonist and the bad guy as the
You're
protagonist.
the
It's all about
adversary regardless, the main adversary. Yeah.
main adversary of that protagonist's goals.
That's interesting that you say that the protagonist isn't necessarily good. It's
No.
it's so it's so against the concept of the word pro, like you're for.
Right. Yeah.
So
Uh,
wow, insight, insight, insight.
I'm dropping theater
Yeah.
knowledge, all my theater knowledge with this.
Woo!
Yeah.
Damn. Beautiful, beautiful. I really wanted to, like, before we go to the next section, I really wanted to share that my favorite Shakespearean character
Mhm.
was definitely Mercutio. And
Beautiful character.
I wonder if you ever had a NPC that was based on Mercutio.
Yes, I did. Um,
Can I share that more?
and they got a tragic ending, just like
Very
him.
much like, yeah.
Um, I think there's something about so beautiful about a friend or someone who is on a PC side that just they're there and they're there to support you, but they're also broken themselves.
Mm,
But because it's not their story, you're the PCs, that's the protagonists of your story.
yeah.
And they always should be. That's a big thing. Like always make your PCs the protagonist. Don't make yourself the protagonist as the GM.
Yeah.
Um, but your PCs are the protagonist, but having those side characters that truly mean something to them, but they're not just two dimensional of being like, well, they exist in this person's world,
Mm,
but having you as the GM being like, well, all of this has happened to them. That also creates so much for the PCs to latch on to be like, I need
mm,
to protect this person. But then when they fail to do so, that can be just as impactful.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Beautiful. To make the NPCs the protagonist or the PCs
PCs.
the
PCs are
PCs.
always the
Sorry.
protagonist. But it's
Yeah.
like the idea in your head that you can have the backstories of the NPCs and everything.
Yeah.
Um, but not making, I think it's important to not make NPCs two dimensional, especially when they're important to a PC.
Mm,
Like Mercutio. Like Mercutio is not a two dimensional. NPC. If we're thinking about in terms of like a gaming way, we have Juliet and Romeo who are the PCs.
Yeah.
Everyone around
Oh,
them are
yeah.
NPCs.
Yeah.
Mercutio is a beautiful NPC that is directly connected to Romeo's downfall and
Mm,
lashing out.
yeah.
Yeah.
A very good friend, like
Yeah.
to the end.
To the
So
end.
when yeah. Oh, what was it? He was still joking when he was dying.
Yeah.
Do you remember the quote? Something to do with meat, something to do with flesh.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. To be honest, in my head, I'm doing the Queen Mab speech. I'm like,
It's okay. I won't test you. I won't test you.
no, please
You-
don't test me on my Shakespeare knowledge right now.
I am not qualified to do that. I promise you. Awesome stuff. Oof, deep, deep. Good. So, how to make your NPCs memorable based on frameworks of characters that are out there, but then what was the name of the the Italian
Commedia
uh
dell'arte.
gonna have to spell that to me.
Commedia
Ah,
apostrophe
okay. Yeah.
Arte.
RTE.
Yeah.
Gonna have to look at that. Yeah. Comedian art? No, that's
Commedia
not.
dell'arte. Yeah.
That's
It's
not.
beautiful. Like it's such a great I mean, it's where clowning and Buffon has come from. Like it's like the start of it. It's beautiful. Yeah.
Mm,
It's great. I love it. Nerdy.
awesome stuff. Awesome stuff. Now we're gonna just have a break from. Well, to be fair, are we gonna ever have a break as a forever GM?
No.
Next segment is a GM challenge round. Okay,
Ooh.
so yes, putting you on the spot, which improvisation is going to be really tested.
Okay.
Um, the random NPC challenge. I'm going to give you three random prompts, and you're going to create this NPC and kind of introduce them in character. So there's going to be an occupation, a secret, and a personality. And I know that we exchanged notes on what's coming up, but it's definitely not that one.
No, no,
So,
I didn't think it would be.
you ready? So, your occupation is the town crier. Okay.
Right.
The secret is you actually can't read. You're illiterate in that sense. However, you have amazing memory. So, you memorize every announcement that's by ear that's made.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, you're a town crier.
Mm-hmm.
You can't read whatever's been given to you,
Right.
but super hearing. You're very good at memorizing what's already been announced. Okay. And then your personality is pretty much a town crier. Like you're loud, you're dramatic, but you love gossip more than the actual news.
Beautiful.
I'll give you a few moments, and then when you're ready.
Okay, so question about this.
Okay.
Am I explaining as if I was explaining to players?
You can do. You can lead in with that before you have a little monologue if you want to.
Gorgeous.
Yep.
Gorgeous. Yes, I understand. Good. All right. So the party enters the town square, and you see that there are a vast amount of the community that has arrived here as if they are expecting some news. And immediately you see a man, human, scraggly, long, white hair, about coming to his belly button, and a long beard to match the exact length. He steps one step, pause, another step, pause, and it's so slow to watch him get up on this little ledge so he can ring this massive bell the size of his head. And it rings out at a decibel that truly would deafen anyone, that the town already has muffled their ears in preparation. You all take a bit of psychic damage just because of it. Um,
Ooh.
Immediately you hear this man go, "Hear today in the town of Cranberry Fields, I have some news to say. Sarah and her husband have had twins. Everyone claps. Amazing. Also, there is no more croissants at the bakery. People boo. Boo! What do you mean? Give us the croissants. I also have news that Marta has gone off with the shepherd. I knew it. I knew it. I told you, Maurice. You owe me 10 gold. Anyways, I also, and you see that there's a young tiefling child who comes up with a book and goes, sir, and starts whispering in his ear, and he goes, I wasn't told that beforehand. And they're like, yeah, but then and they hand him a little parchment paper. And you see the old man look down and get really close and go, there's another announcement! And looks out to the crowd. But why not shake it up for a change? Who wants to read it? Yeah, I know what it says. I totally do. But we maybe need a young town crier. This is your audition, kids. And a bunch of kids are like, me. And their parents are like, no, sweetie, no. And they're like, no, kids, you definitely should come up and read this. This is literacy learning. It's all good. And the party just kind
Oh.
of watches, not even an insight check needing to be made that this man definitely does not know how to read. And it's just looking around for anyone who can. And this is, yeah, this is my
And
intro.
scene, and scene. Oh my days, that was fantastic. I was thoroughly entertained. That was really awesome.
Thank you.
Oh
His,
no,
his name is definitely Craig. I don't know why,
Greg.
but his name is definitely Craig.
Oh, that was phenomenal.
Thank you.
Honestly, Alex, that was so good. I would have loved to be in a one shot or a campaign with that.
Craig.
Someone in the chat, so Christian Marine said, so the town crier, someone that can't read but is very good at just memorizing by ear. From One Piece, Usopp. Illiterate with photographic memory. I mean that yeah, that pretty much, but then obviously not as well aged. I mean, yeah.
Every
No.
every time they try to say something and they don't know something, they're like, "But look at my slingshot!" and tries to in the distance. Yeah,
No,
great.
Usopp, how about nah, that was good. That was good. Uh that was brilliant. Goodness gracious. Right, do we even have time for another challenge? Um I do. Okay, you know what? Rather than throwing another challenge, we'll have a little break from that before we go back into um, the focus on you.
Mm.
And so I wanted to ask some of the questions that are in our live chat. Um, Christian Marin, 2924 asks, that's a lot. That's top many things. What are the top 15 things to have as a new GM from your perspective? I'm
Oh,
gonna slim that down to six. Okay.
okay.
What are the top six things that you should have as a new GM?
Mm. Dice.
Nice.
Lots of
T
it.
times many.
Oh, so many dice. Um, some kind a way of writing that you feel comfortable that with, whether that is a Google Docs, whether that is a notepad,
Mhm,
whether that is some kind of app like Vivid or Notion,
mm,
anything like that for organizing all of your thoughts is really important.
mhm.
Um,
That's two.
yeah,
So like a form of any like whether it's a physical or digital way of journaling all your notes
yeah,
together.
physical,
Yep.
yeah, physical or digital way of journaling notes.
Yep.
I would say if mm, okay, so I'm gonna say two things, but then I'm gonna contradict them. Maps and minis, but that's not essential because theater of the mind is also just as good.
Oh, okay.
Um, so I this is controversial, but I've only recently actually gotten like a library of maps and minis. Because before I did theater of the mind and I thought it was just as evocative of a way of storytelling and cinema, but I think it's helped a lot with certain TTRPGs
Mm.
having those things. So yeah, dice, journaling, my minis and maps,
Many maps plus
um,
theatre of the mind.
or theater of the mind. Um, oh, some kind of initiative tracker. Because tracking initiative sometimes can be the bane of your existence, and that's okay. Whether it is a note, and again, a notes app, I actually have just gotten an initiative tracker that like I can put up things and people can dry erase their names and like put it the order of initiative. It's life changing, truly. I'm forever changed by it. Uh,
Mm.
and
One more thing, because I both maps and minis and theatre of mind. So props for props for your world laying and also
yeah,
combat as well. So
yeah.
one more thing, and this track is really good to be fair, which we do provide.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
And maps.
Uh, Uh, oh, I mean, I get, I guess whatever manual you need, that's really important.
And
Um,
the manuals,
and the
they are
manual, I mean, the source of rules is always like have it either again in physical or digital copy is really important to have on hand. So you can always reference it because it is okay to reference it at any point, no matter how experienced or not you are.
mm. So those are the that's slimlined 15 to 6 items. That's from Alex, that's recommended. 6 items that you should have as a new GM.
That was
Dice.
really hard because I could definitely do 15. Like I could
I
do
bet
it.
you could.
I
I bet you
could I
could.
could definitely do 15. That was really hard to try and pick from. And I know there's probably going to be discourse in the comments being like, I can't believe she didn't say this. And I'm going to be like, I'm sorry. It was my number
It's all good. But
seven.
dice, some sort of journaling, like format, whether it's digital or physical, your and apparatus to set up your combat, or also just laying the visual world down, whether it's maps and minis,
Mhm.
or feats of the mind, um, initiative trackers, and I think I'm gonna put on one more there. Then you also have manuals. Okay, so manuals to make sure that the rules are right there for you is very essential. I also attest to that too. So good recommendations. Recommendations. So last 10 minutes of the segment. Sorry guys, I'm gonna go back onto script. This is the personal stories and experiences segment. And so memories. Um, from you, which you share so much from the start of, when you how you got into GMing. It feels like we already stepped into this much early on. But let's throw this one in. What's the most from all the improving recommending, not just recommending that you should work on improvisation, I'm sure. What's the most unexpected thing that your players have ever done?
Oh man, I ran into some crazy situations. Um, I'm gonna cheat and give two because they're completely separate.
Okay.
Um, but one that I've recently done um had the most insane roles ever to try and convince they were in front of someone of extreme power who could
Mm,
have helped them influence their journey along the way, could have either assisted them or deterred them. And
mm,
instead of asking anything to do with politics, to do with their campaign. They instead have launched an entire company about selling rocks with googly eyes on them. And they have wasted four nat 20s on now becoming a brand deal of this fey potato that they travel with as a companion. That is a potato that speaks Minionese And yes, I have somehow been able to learn some of it
Wow.
to speak as this Fey potato. And they have now branded the Fey potato as buy your own spud. And it is a rock with googly eyes on them. And they're currently making a fortune monthly on their income from the selling of these rocks, and did not ask anything to do with the campaign with this political leader that they've been waiting to have a meeting with for ages. They just on the spot decided to create their own business with rocks with googly eyes.
You allowed them to make a new market
Oh yeah,
and supplied themselves with
yeah,
unlimited amount of gold for any transaction that was.
yeah.
It's like, wow.
Yeah, no, they like I mean they got like four nat 20s on this. They got a good deal. But they left and they were like, maybe we should ask the guy about. And I was like, you think? Like, oh my God. So I've now had to like weave that in into another way, but that was crazy. But I think in a completely different vein, I once had a campaign where they were fighting the big bad, and I had said this I'm making this purposely challenging because you guys are good tactical players, so this is going to be purposely challenging. And behind my back, as well as another player's back, basically had come to the decision, the group consensus, that if it meant that they all had to sacrifice themselves at the end to defeat this bad guy, they would make sure they would sacrifice themselves so this one character could live because they know they would be the right person to carry on their legacy. And they
No,
did.
bruh, no way.
Yeah. So the campaign ended with every single one of them dying but one. And this one ended up becoming like the leader of building up this new world and this new kingdom and carrying on their legacy because they knew that they were the most capable. They've always been the most trustworthy, the most kind. And they were like, at the end of the day, if we all have to make sure that this world can live to see another day, we will sacrifice ourselves and we'll keep this one character alive. And me and her had no idea they had planned that.
That's so deep
Yeah.
that they conspired behind both you and the
Yeah.
most yeah protagonist of all protagonists in a way.
Truly, it was like, I've never seen something like that. I was in shock. She was crying. I was just like, this is insane. But I mean, it was beautiful. It was a beautiful way to end a campaign that had been going on for like a year and a half. Or
Mm.
so it was, then they were all really such a great group of people.
Ah.
Um, so yeah, I think that was something that really surprised me and shocked me.
Mm. That's really sweet. Like, yeah, that's you know what? You asked for two, I allowed it. They were both equally great, great sharings. Very unexpected. This is very much like an anime ending, literally.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, really cinematic. I mean,
And then the other one's doing cryptocurrency via
yeah,
pet rocks and googly
cryptocurrency rocks
eyes.
with googly eyes. And
Beautiful.
ladies and gentlemen, that's what it means to be in a campaign with me is you can get the best of both worlds.
That's,
Like
I
Hannah
mean,
Montana.
no, beautiful. I like that. That's great. No, that's lovely, lovely sharing on that one. Man, okay. We only have 3 minutes left, and I will throw in one question rather than on the script because um time has to end. So, oh, compliment. Okay. Hazardly asked, what is the best way to make a world feel lived in or established outside of NPCs and dialogues? Or
Oh,
outside of NPCs and dialogues? How mad?
okay. Um, Honestly, building everything in the world. I have this is a shameless plug, but on my Instagram, if you follow me at the Chaotic Goblin, I actually talk about how to like different ways to build worlds and really make them lived in. So like governments, religions, monarchy establishments, militia, climate, etc. I think everything that you could find in our world today to make it feel like real Um, and your favorite fantasy novels, like whether that be Lord of the Rings, whether that be The Cosmere by Brandon Sanderson, like any of those, uh,
Mm,
I think they do that really well and like establishing environment, atmosphere, political intrigue, religion, history. Like the history of your world is so important. Uh,
mm.
Cosmetology, etc.
Real world building,
Yeah.
like real kind of building blocks to make sure that you can circle around. Yeah, like political agenda makes the homebrew, I'm sure, like very deep,
Yeah,
very
it
yeah,
does.
very involving.
I think for me at least, the things I have always relied on is environment, if
Mm.
core environment, politics, and religion are big, 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 big ones.
Environment, politics,
Yeah.
religion.
And whether religion be necessarily to gods, because some, campaigns don't necessarily have gods, but whatever people uh worship
Yeah,
is important.
yeah.
And whether that be leaders, that might be tied into politics, and that might be one and the same, but either or,
Mm,
those a site of worship, benevolence and malevolence from something else other than yourselves
yeah.
is really important.
Awesome stuff. Great, great advice, I would
Yeah.
say. Yeah, that's wonderful. Unfortunately, it is the end of our GM Spotlight. Firstly, I'll thank you so much, Alex, just for all your sharing. It was a very fun chat with you. Before we finish off, what are you working on? Like, give us your plugs again so then people can follow you and look at your already wonderful content.
I'm mostly found on Instagram, and on TikTok at TheChaoticGoblin. You can find me in London at Rum Tavern, where I do something every Sunday, and then sometimes at Arcadia Games. I will be appearing at many different Comic Cons and festivals coming up. And as well as, please look out on my socials because there's actual plays that I am going to be a part of in the future, especially one big one that is coming up. So look out for that.
Awesome stuff. Awesome stuff, guys. You heard it here. Thank you very much for tuning in to Roll and Play's GM Spotlight with Alex, aka the Chaotic Goblin. Been an absolute delight. Thank you very much,
Thank
all.
you.
And till next time. Thank you so much, guys. See you later. Thank you, Alex. See you in a bit.
Thank you.
Bye. And I'm still here.